Hey guys, Tom Collector Not Hoarder here. Today I'm wanting to do a short tutorial on the 1928 Albert Einstein card. But before I get into that, I want to thank Orlando at A Collector's Dream and Scott at Stooks Baseball Cards and Curiosities for giving me a shout out on my last video that I did, which was a SGC pre-submission review. And I ended up picking up a handful of subscribers from that, which was fantastic, so thank you guys. In that video, I was submitting this card, this 1928 Albert Einstein card. So I figured I would do a little video to kind of show you what I've learned about this card as I've picked it up. I love having this card in my PC, and I noticed a lot of them going around and people starting to pick them up. And it seems like it's kind of turning into a staple for the non-sports collector. So I did a little research on these, and I haven't seen anything out there like this about them, so I figured I'd share what I've learned. But these cards operate very similar to the T206 set. So it looks on the surface like I have 5 of the same cards sitting there, but there are back variations to this card that I've learned. And like the T206, there are common backs and there are rare backs. And first off, what I will show you is where these cards typically come from, which is an album. So this is album 3. And what they would do with this card is very similar to what they would do with sports cards or trading cards. They would glue them into the album. And you can see that this album still has a copy inside. And I just wanted to show you kind of where they come from. So whenever you see them, there's a lot of times there's some staining on the back. And that's typically from the glue, from when they were glued into the album. So with that being said, I will show you the backs of these cards. So there are 5 different variations to the back of these. And if you've never looked at the back, you know that there's an advertisement on the back. And a lot of times they look similar if you don't know what you're looking for. But this will just be real quick so you can kind of understand what you're looking at whenever you see these. So this one is what they call the Jasmatzi. These are cigarette companies or tobacco companies. And this one is a Salem. This one is a Josetti. This one is a Salima. And this one is a Manoli. So as I've been picking these up, I started realizing there were different backs. So I started taking a deep dive. Well, I shouldn't call it a deep dive. It's just looking at some basic numbers, really, from SGC and PSA to see how many of each they have graded. And so what I did was I combined the numbers for PSA and SGC. And I'm going to preface this by saying, the last time I looked at these numbers, it's been about a week. So the numbers are maybe slightly out of date, but this is good enough to at least get you in a ballpark to understand what I'm getting at here. So between SGC and PSA, they have graded 104 copies of this Jasmatzi. They have graded 109 copies of this Salem. They graded 77 copies of Josetti, 32 copies of Sulima, and only 7 copies of the Manoli. So that tells me, at least submission-wise, that this Jasmatzi and this Salem kind of fall into your common. The Josetti is slightly in the middle. Salima is becoming a little bit more scarce, and this Manoli back is fairly rare. They don't get submitted very often. So after I looked at submissions for grading, I got curious and went to eBay and looked at either current listings or current sales from the last 90 days. And what I had found out was between the two combined, the Jasmati has had 21 either listed or sold combined. The Salem has also had 21. The Josetti is 18. The Salima, there have been 4 and 0 for the Manoli. So that just confirms a little further for me that these two are more common. The Josetti's still falling kind of in the middle. The Salima getting more scarce, and the Manoli being very rare. So I'm not talking prices or anything, but I would say, you know, kind of your entry point, your starting point would be this Jasmati and this Salem. These are going to be your most common out there. And, you know, if you look at them, you'll see that. But I hadn't really seen anybody look into this, so I'm not seeing huge price variations at the moment between the two of them. Mainly the price variation is coming with the condition. So, you know, obviously people are basing it off of, you know, centering or whatever grade they're getting. So for me, I don't think, you know, I'm not going to be targeting a lot of these Jasmati and Salem ones just because I have them. But you know, if I see a Salima or a Manoli, I definitely want to try to get them, especially if the price is reasonable on them. Maybe at some point people start to catch up that there are common and rare backs to these. But all I wanted to do was just give you guys kind of a short tutorial on these just to help you understand. And one more thing that I've kind of noticed is maybe like early grading for PSA and possibly even SGC is they have labeled these incorrectly, you know, go figure, but they seem to be getting better at it. I'll see some of these cards that will be listed as a Jasmati whenever it's actually a Salem back. So if you own any of these, you know, you might want to check your flip on your card to see if it matches the actual company on the back. Otherwise, it's been mislabeled. And you know what, leave a comment below if you do own this card, which brand you own, and if you do own it and it's graded, let me know if your label is correct or not. I'd be curious. So I appreciate you guys watching. Just keeping it short today, but thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you.